Hey Dee, it's you and me again. How are you?
Uh-oh. I'm good. How about you? Happy New
I'm
Year.
yeah, Happy New Year. It's January 2nd, 2025. And Dee, you and we like doing these spreads, don't we? We like talking about tarot.
Yeah, of
We just
course.
love it.
Keeps our minds going.
Yeah, I found this elemental spread years ago when I wait like 2016 maybe. And I think it was 2016, 17 that I kind of got into this wanting to take, beautiful backgrounds and put spreads on them. But I found this spread, and I've just never really worked with it until recently, and all of a sudden it's one of those things that just makes sense again. So let me read this off. This is We have spirit, we have air, water, fire, and earth. And this is what it says. For the spirit card in the center, depending on the reading, this element could represent the problem, the lesson to be learned, or a message from spirit guiding you to your greatest good. Now, I did a couple of dozen readings with this, and I discovered that it actually is a good combination of all three. So I kind of call it the focal point. It's like this is the focal point or the center of of everything.
Mhm.
Air, to me, air goes at the top because it's over my head. What do you think, Dee? I mean, do you agree with
Oh,
that? Yeah,
the
and it's like,
sword
what are
to the
your
sky.
thoughts, ideas, challenges? This element is associated with communication and problem solving. The card advises you about a possible rational approach to the question.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very good. Now I have earth at the bottom, and
Yep.
earth is what sustains us physically. This element represents home, health, finances, material resources. The card tells us what action to take in this situation. This is what grounds us. And to me, I thought it made sense that earth was beneath our feet, or below.
Yes. Yes.
Now,
Grounding.
what gets a little tricky is everybody else in the world has I'm going to call it, water to the west and fire to the east. I have a different look on it. You and I've already discussed this, right?
No, fire to the west.
Yes, I prefer fire to the west. And
Yes.
it's like I told Judy, it's I think of when I think of that, I think of the sun setting to the west. I think
Mhm.
of I'm in the middle of the country here in the US. I think of all the forest fires to the west. I
Mm.
think of the song It Never Rains in Southern California, so it's
Yep.
always sunny to the west.
Yeah. Right.
So to me, the West is fire, and this is what feeds our passions. This element is associated with work, passions, and beliefs. The card advises you on how to apply this energy to solve the problem. And then to the east, I think of Eastern medicine or Eastern philosophy, and that's why I think water to the east. And water is what fulfills you emotionally. This element is associated with relationships and our emotions. The card suggests how our emotions are affecting the situation. Are they healthy? Are they stemming from something else? What is hidden? Okay. And then it says that every element should also be read in connection to the center card. Now, I'm going to, I have to say, what's really interesting is the one thing I've learned doing this, or doing several, doing quite a few readings with this, is that what I don't know how to say this. What came out for me was the air and the water became, what is your reality? I mean, come on, let's be honest. What's the truth about your situation? And then the water being, and what's your fantasy about it? What are you missing about this? What is your life experiences and your fears and everything hiding about this? What are you not seeing? Because the waters can be murky, and deep. And then as I was reading, I found that the using the energy of the card in the fire and using the action in the earth
Yeah.
card, all of a sudden therein lies our solutions. So it kind of started coming full circle for me. I kind of liked the spread. Did you like this spread, or is this not your cup of tea?
No, I thought once you work with it gets but it finally clicked. Because when I was first going through, but like you said, that fire and earth card,
Yeah,
those two, well, they go together anyway. Earth and fire,
yeah.
that works together, and water and air work together too. But um, it just made for a better answer when you connect it with that spirit card.
Yeah.
You see how it connected.
I'm going to switch cameras now. And what we're going to do, what we decided to do was several uh, spreads. We pulled questions, we already pulled questions out of my bag of 600 questions for your tarot practice, which you can find down below in my Etsy shop. Okay, so, all right, I'm gonna set that aside. We already picked the questions. We're gonna use the Everyday Witch deck, we decided, right? Just because
Yes.
we like the pictures. It's a friendly deck and we like the pictures. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Okay. Why do people constantly misunderstand me? Here's our focal point. Here is the or here is our air. Here's our water element. Here is our earth element, and here is our energy element.
Okay, read the what the cards are because I'm not able to see them really well. So
Okay.
your focal point is what?
So why do people misunderstand me? Our focal point is the Chariot. We have a 7. We have all right, so and then we have the Lovers as our, I'm going to call it as our reality, because that's what I've started looking at it. This is our truth, our reality. This is the air. This is the way we look at things, and the way we see them, the way we think about them, the way we communicate how we think about them. And those are the two majors. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles, then we have the 10 of Swords and the 8 of Swords. And believe it or not, these two, the 8 of Swords and the 10 of Swords, are in the how we're going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a long 2025.
Well, either that or just put an end to it.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
done.
So, I see the focal point. Why do people constantly misunderstand me? Is it because you're always on the move? You're never in one place long enough? Do you think?
Yeah.
I think that this is a constantly being focused on something other than people. I know people that are really into doing their thing, and rather than communicating with people, and that might be the issue. I mean, what's the crux of the problem up here, really? What is your reality? Your reality is you don't, you have a trouble making commitments to people, and maybe that's
Holding
why
on
they
to the old stuff.
say what?
Holding on to the old things, old stuff, not the inability to move forward with it. And this person, whoever this is to me, doesn't want to listen because they're stuck.
Could be, yeah, with these other cards.
Mm-hmm.
So, so let's just look at the Lovers as this is the truth. This is the air. Okay. This is the reality of the situation. What do you think how does the Lovers fit into that scenario for you?
Well, Lovers is kind of a partner that you would be, a connection that you would have with this person, if there is anything. It's balance. It definitely is not loving. But is not being looked at for what it is.
Well,
See,
yeah, that lends to the question, why do people constantly misunderstand me? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're not looking at it for what it is. And you know what? Here's another question, Lynn, that gets thrown at me is, do they really care?
Yeah, with the Chariot, I have a hard time, this is where I'm coming up with, this is someone who's constantly on the move. They're focused on something else.
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and honestly, it's like this is a person that's so focused on other things in their life that you
Mhm.
know they're not really taking the time and effort to see how others feel about them.
No,
And I think that makes them come across a little glib, don't you? I mean,
I do. And I
and
feel like
that's
they're
why, yeah, because and but to me, the lovers is about commitment. And if there's a problem here, maybe the reality is, or the truth of the matter is you're not really committed.
no.
And if we look at the water, you know, if we come around and look at this Four of Pentacles, right, and
Mhm.
look at the water side, this is about sharing, right?
Mhm.
This can be the miser card, right? In most decks.
Mhm. Mhm.
I prefer a more positive approach to this card these days. I just like to see this as, you know, protecting my resources or
Mhm.
properly managing my resources so they last or so I can accomplish the thing that I want to accomplish. But, you know, if you come back to the original miser card meaning,
Mhm.
you know, it's like, yeah, they're kind of sitting on, they're not sharing.
They're
And
not
when you don't share of yourself, you know, how you feel about things or what, you know, if you don't share with people, they can't get to know you. And
no.
so I think that that's, you know, are your emotions interfering? What is the deeper part of you? What's hidden that you're not sharing? And or what do you not realize is your problem? I think this is something I think you already realize. This is something that's deeper that maybe you don't realize, like, you know, like you're not sharing. Um,
Mhm.
the energy, you know, what do you need to do? Why do people constantly misunderstand me? With the Ten of Swords, um, you know, I mean, the fact that somebody would bring this question means they've given it a lot of thought, or they wouldn't seek out a tarot reader for the question. And
Right.
I think that this is the energy that you need to put into toward the solution. And I think you're absolutely right at the beginning, which is you're thinking this thing to death.
Mhm.
Just put an
Mhm.
end to it. Stop. You know, you
Yeah.
can't change how people, you know, see you.
Well, I look at this when I just look at everything with that question, it looks like um um they have this feeling of not being in control. And they feel that they lose that control, so they hold on tighter to what they don't like the feeling. And you've been in those spots where you walk in, it's like, oh, I don't fit here.
That would be down here. That would be
Yep.
the earth thing. You know, this is, you know, I feel grounded. I feel more grounded when I'm off doing my own thing, you
Right.
know, and being away from people. But if you'll look at, you know, look at this row here, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes connections can scare the crap out of people too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Some people
Um,
don't know how to connect. Some choose not to.
right. And this is somebody who is definitely not connecting and
No.
purposely. This is on
Yes.
purpose.
Right.
And that is causing part of this, you know, this problem. But also, what is the energy that you can use? What energy do you need to help resolve the situation? Well, you know, this is also somebody running away from their issues, refusing to deal with them, you know,
I just look at
washing
that and
their
say, okay, that's it. I'm done.
washing their hands with it.
Throw a
But yet,
clarifier. Lynn,
but
throw a
yet,
clarifier.
what grounds them, what keeps bringing them back to this question is they keep thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep
So,
back around.
so you need to change. What this card tells us is you need to change the way you're thinking about this whole thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you don't want to participate and you don't want to make an effort to change how people view you, then
Mhm.
you need to find a way to accept in your, you know, in your head and your heart, you know, the fact that it shouldn't, that it can't bother you, right?
Right.
You have to
Right.
move on. All right, anything
Mhm.
else with this? It's kind of a weird one.
It's kind of a weird one.
Okay,
Um,
let's close that one up. Let's move to the next question. The next question that I see here is that we picked:
yeah.
what is the one thing I need to change that will make the biggest difference in my life?
Oh,
We kind of
okay.
liked that one, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so I don't
You need
know.
to blow on those cards a little bit.
They are so, I mean, they're just so old, and I've just used the crap out of these cards that they barely shuffle.
I know,
You
I have
know,
a same deck, but I love that deck.
I really do too. Okay, so the question, what is the one thing I need to change that will make the biggest difference in my life?
Knock, knock.
Ooh, we got the Hierophant. Yucky. Okay. Justice. We have justice for for the air
Okay.
element. We have the Nine of Cups for the water element.
Oh.
Don't mind that. We have the Hermit for earth, and then we have Temperance for fire. And it's so interesting because we have four major arcana here, and then a really nice, one of the best, minors in the group. But the fact that we have so many majors tells me, and remember, it said in this thing that that the focal point card could be lessons learned. I think this whole, I think this whole thing is a lesson, right?
The whole thing is a lesson.
Right. It's going
Exactly.
to be a learning. I think just by virtue of all of the majors, it's going to be a learning process. So again, what is the one thing I need to change? So what do these majors have in common, Dee? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, use your to to me, I look at it as um using your wisdom and doing the right thing, uh and be patient about it, of course. There's that. Um, and maybe you have to rethink that Nine of Cups. You how many wishes do you get?
9. I have always looked at the center card, despite what it says. I've always looked at the center card as being the issue, right? So
Play by the
first and
rules.
foremost, the issue, because you need to have an issue to resolve before you can have a solution, right?
Yeah.
Or advice. But for some reason, I feel like this card, this Hierophant in the center,
Mm-hmm.
is that to me is, and for right now, it looks to me like it's the answer. And I'll tell you why. What is on your head? Well, justice. This is about, balance, right? It's about
Mm-hmm.
karma.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I mean, it's about a lot of things. It could be, legal issues looming, So I'm thinking of we have to look at this in context. We have, and for aspiring terrorists, the card could stand for a legal action. It could stand for legal papers that need to be signed, or something that needs to be signed in order to, to be everlasting. It could be balance. That's why we have the scales. It could be about balance. It could be about karma. What's right? What's wrong? The universe keeps perfect score. How is it going to come back? Is it going to come back to bite you, or is it going to come back because you've paid it forward and at some point, and now it's going to reward you for that. I think that of all those, I think the one that makes the most sense in this context of what is the one thing that I need to change. I think that the truth of the matter is, I think you need balance in your life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that that's what that stands for. And it's not that you have a bad life, because actually, I think that the Nine of Cups tells us that we need to be grateful for the things that we do have and appreciate the things that we do have in our life. And I think that's another major thing. How do you see the Nine of Cups, or do you see it different in
No,
this
I see.
context?
I see. It's almost like the line says, "Be careful what you wish for, and don't make it too big." But that Hierophant with next to it,
Yep.
knowing that that Hierophant, that Hermit, um, all has to do with even justice has to do with whatever you put into it, you'll get out of it. Be
Yep.
wise. Think
And
things through.
the energy that you need to take to help with the solution again comes back to balance. It comes back to
Yes.
eliminating extremes in your life. And
Mhm.
so, justice, and it's just funny how justice and temperance are both here,
Yeah.
and
All this balance in there.
saying that. Yeah, it's a
Yep.
balance thing. But
Mhm.
interestingly enough, if we come back to center, to
Mhm.
me, the Hierophant, when you look at these in relationship to this question, the Hierophant tells me you are in need, you should seek out mentoring. And you know what? Same with the Hermit. Seek out those who are wiser than yourself. That is the single answer. You need more balance in your life, and you need to be more grateful for the things that you have. That will open your heart and make it easier for you. But how do you get those? What's the one thing you can do to make all that happen? You can seek counsel.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
that, and not only is that what will ground you, not only is that the action that you need to take, but it is, we come back here to the center point. It's being, repeated by, the message from spirit.
Mhm.
Don't
And
you
you can
think?
also ask the question with that Nine of Cups, what fulfills you? And where do you need to go to find that answer if you personally can't find it?
Right.
There
So
is,
a little bit of this is going to be soul searching,
yes,
but
yes.
the Hermit can stand for seeking out someone wiser than yourself. And
Yeah.
of course the Hierophant does. That's a mentoring card,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
seeking, and you shall
Going
find.
alone.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's put those away. The next question for this spread that we picked is, how can I improve my chances of getting the job? So, we've kind of determined that you can try it. Not all questions I found work with this spread. But like I said, I like to have a little bit of backstory, I like to have a little bit of something in it to, so since we don't have someone to ask questions, I have started asking more and more questions of my querents than I used to, and it really helps. So how can I improve the chances of getting the job? Meaning they already know what job they want, not a job, it's the
No,
job.
the
So we're
job.
talking about a specific job. Okay. Ace of Swords. Oh, we got the Hermit back. We got the Hermit back as the heir, as the conflicts, challenges, our thoughts on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have the Queen of Swords on how we feel about it. We have the Six of Pentacles for the action that needs to be taken by way of grounding us. Oh, and interesting. The Eight of Cups we have as the energy that we need to get our answer, to resolve the situation. And again, I say resolve the situation lightly because this is not really, again, this is one of those questions where this is not something that you can do. I mean, what can you do? I mean, when somebody else is making the decision, I
Mm-hmm.
guess to me, I see it's how you influence the people that are making the decision, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
So, how can I improve my chances of getting the job? Well, that Ace of Swords right off the bat says, what are your goals? Where do you see yourself?
okay, what
Because
else?
it is a beginning, and then if you go to the Hermit, let's see, Hermit and Queen of Swords, man, it's really digging down deep to get to the truth and use your wisdom. But that Eight of Cups, I'm going right to the Eight of Cups. What do you say?
Well, here's what I'm looking at.
Ooh,
We have swords, one cup, one pentacle, one major card. And
yeah.
so I think the major card, I think this has to be a really big part of what you're doing because it's a major. Again, I come back to the focal point, right? The
Mm-hmm.
focal point, and who more, listen, she knows the truth. This
Yeah.
one is seeking the truth, or she
Yes.
already knows the truth. She already masters the truth. But I see this as, also this card can represent victory, and
Mm-hmm.
it can also represent delays. It depends. But I see this card less as the the situation, because I think we know the situation. They've looked at a job, they want this particular job, and they're waiting to find out, are they going to get this particular job? So we already have the backstory. So that kind of, to me, that kind of makes this more of a message or a lesson than it does the situation. So
So
I
in other
think
words,
the center card changes a lot. I think it needs to be fluid with this whole thing. But what's on your mind? Well, you're sitting out here in the sticks, right? Let's say you've already done the interview and you know that you're waiting for someone to make a decision. The hermit can stand for the people making the decision, or it could stand for use, being out there. It's quiet, you're on your own, and you have been on your own. You've had to rely on your own wisdom, your own wits, your own experience, to present yourself. And now you're kind of waiting around. And I think that in your mind, this waiting is really, weighing down on you. As far as the Queen of Swords go, I'm thinking you probably already know you're qualified for this job. You have what it takes. You're qualified, and she's qualified for the job. It doesn't have to be any more than that. We want every card to be a major player in a sprint. It doesn't have to be. It can just be a connector card. But I think this says, you're qualified, but are the people going to, you feel deep down inside you're qualified. Now, are you thinking, what was the question from the spread? Let me read that again. Is this, this card suggests your emotion, how your emotions are affecting the situation. Are they healthy? Are they stemming from something else? No, I think this is full bore confidence in yourself. Now, is that merited or not? That's up to you to determine, right? But I think if this is how you're feeling, and is that appropriate? Yeah, you're confident in your abilities. Maybe not you're confident in getting the job, but you're confident in your abilities to do the job. And so I think your head is in the right place. As far as the what energy do you need? I see this Eight of Cups as there's something's missing, right? There's some little piece missing, which is probably the answer to the question, are you going to get the job? But being able to walk toward it, I see this in this card. I see the girl walking, walking away. She's done everything she can. She's lined up everything. There might be one thing missing, but she's walking, you're right, away from, what she's done and toward the future. But what is the one thing? What energy can you take from this card? If there's one thing missing, one element, what could it be? Could it be more references? Could it be just telling them how much you want the job, rather than just being, really tough and looking really smart? Maybe they want to see that, emotion, that cup, right? Maybe they want to see how you feel. They want you to feel like you want the job. They want to see that enthusiasm. So maybe that might be the missing ingredient. So I would say put your time and energy into trying to figure out what one element might put them over the top. And then, what action do you need to take? What do you see? We got the Six of Pentacles.
yeah, I look at that Six of Pentacles and I just think, I just feel you got to go with the flow. And I look at these cards and it says, truth be told, in your head, that this may not be the perfect opportunity for getting that job, or like you said, something's missing. But that Queen and that Ace tells me you're going to find out the truth. The reality is you can walk away from it, but you can always come back.
Yeah, and I think that bodes well with the Six.
And that goes with the
Pentacles.
Six.
And
Yep.
and I think whether you get the job or not, there's going to be other options.
Yeah,
for
it's
you.
not balancing right. It's not, maybe it's poor timing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what can I do to improve the chances of getting the job? I really think this card is the answer.
Is the answer. Yep.
It's saying, figure out what is one more attribute that you could give that might push, that might help them make this decision down here, right? Because you don't have control over the decision, whether you're going to get it or not get it. but you can improve your chances maybe by giving them tweak it, one more thing that you might be able to send them. It could be just a letter, thanking them for the interview and letting them and really putting your emotion into the job. But I
Yeah.
think that's the answer, is figuring out what one thing you can give them. And then I think that it bodes well to say the victory will be yours.
Yeah.
I do think that the victory will be yours. I think you're going to get the job. That wasn't the question, but I think that if you can figure out just one more thing to give them to put it over the top, then you'll have your victory.
Yeah.
I think that'll be it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? No. Okay.
No.
What is the next question? Why haven't I met the one? Oh, boy, could I go back decades and give some young whippersnapper some advice on that? Do you believe there is just one?
No.
How many years are you going to be married this year?
53.
Okay. Seriously, 53 years of marriage. I mean, you met him like right out of high school. Unbelievable.
No, actually, it wasn't, but he's just that much older than me. He'll always be older than me, Lynn.
I know. But I mean, don't you look back and think, I mean, seriously, I mean, even after 53 years of marriage, Dee,
Yeah.
do you believe that he was like the only one?
No.
See, I don't either. I think there's more than one for all of us, but if you can run into one that you like, do you keep them? It doesn't mean there isn't anything else out there, but
Well, and I wasn't checking any boxes or anything else at that time in your life. You just trying to get from A to B, and it was okay. It fit the piece, and it grew.
right.
And then of course you have kids and everything else. So it's like, ooh.
Well, it becomes a partnership, and
Yeah.
it'll be 31 years for us this year. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
we've got some experience between us. Okay.
For
Why
sure.
haven't I met the one?
All right. Let her rip. Oh.
Hangman, isn't that hysterical? Okay. What's the reality of the situation? We have the world. Okay. What is what's the thought process here? What's the truth here? What's the reality here? How are your emotions affecting you, the way you're looking at this thing? We have the 10 of Pentacles. How
Oh.
are your emotions affecting, how you're looking at it? We have the moon for grounding, but we have, the energy. What kind of energy do we need to put forth in order to answer this question for yourself? I mean, why haven't you found it? So the Hangman, the
What is
world,
that card? What is the fourth card?
which
I'm sorry, the fifth. What's the future card?
future.
The
So
last
we
one.
have Hangman in the middle. We have the world.
Yep.
The world is our air.
Air.
The 10
Yep.
of Pentacles is our water.
Yep.
The 7 of Wands is our fire. And the moon is our
Earth.
grounding, or that's our action that we need to take.
Yeah.
I already can see some things here. For me, the Hangman, is this the situation, the problem, it's all about perception, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is the way you're looking at the situation for yourself. The answer is the way you're looking at everything. So it's one and the same. That's why I'm saying that's a focal point. The focal point, it all revolves around your perception of your situation. And really, it's like, what is the holdup here? It's, I have to ask the question of one of these. I have to ask, how high are your expectations? Where are your expectations set?
Yeah.
And to me, that's the reality of the situation is
right.
And we've got the world. Now,
Yeah.
the world usually means, hey, you know what? You've worked hard, you've earned the right to move into the next phase of your life. This is the ending of one phase. And it's not even the ending, it's just the completion of one phase. It's been a completion, and now it's time to, for you to transition into the next phase. If you want to get to the next phase, you're going to have to change your perspective. And I have to ask, what is holding you back? I think it could be, the fact that, maybe you feel you've earned the right to what you want in life, right? Or the kind of person that you want. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
those expectations are just too high. I'm saying? Life is messy. Relationships are messy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the world is kind of perfection to me. It could stand for perfection. And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe the reality is you're expecting perfection. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why, you haven't met anybody yet, or you haven't met the one yet.
Right.
So deep down, how are your emotions affecting that, D, with the Ten of Pentacles?
Well, you're looking at something that is long term, but if you've been looking for a long time, it's all of a sudden you're getting cold feet, and you are not looking at it in uh a way that, like you said, that world says do it for a higher purpose. Just what exactly? Why haven't I met the one? Your uh dreams are too big.
Yeah, I think expectations are too high. And
I
and you
agree.
know what? This is a prime example of when the spread asks you that in any event, each element should be read as a pair with the center card. Your
Hmm.
expectations are too high and you need to change your perspective.
Right. Right.
And then over here, I know you want the family. You see in your mind's eye what it is that you want, right? You
Mhm.
feel like this is what you want,
Right.
but you're being held back by your perception of what that family should look like,
Right.
right? You're being held back by that. Okay.
And you're not listening to your gut. In that moon card,
Well, it's
you
yeah,
need
and
to
I mean, this is steeped Ten of Pentacles. This is it's about a lot of things, but it's also about security and the safety, within that family unit. And I think maybe you don't feel secure. Maybe you're maybe fear of commitment.
fear of commitment. There it is.
Could very well be what's holding you back, what's hidden in this
Yep.
card for you.
Yep.
The energy, fire. The energy, did I screw up?
That's Seven of Wands, right?
Yeah, but this was fire. This was supposed to be fire, and this is supposed to be water.
Oh, well, I go west and east. I just did west east. Yeah, you're right. The water, the Seven of Wands is the water.
Right. Yeah, it was on the to the yeah, to this side, to
Yeah.
the west. To the left is supposed to be.
Okay.
So screw it. It's my video. I can change it if I want. So I'm gonna, just because we've already started this, right?
Of
Mentally.
course.
Mentally, the water, yeah, was what to me, it's like how you're looking at it, how you perceive what a family is. Maybe
Yeah.
you're off a little bit on how you perceive, and on how you perceive, and or maybe you're just feeling afraid of the commitment of what that
Hmm.
might be. And that's a perception too. That's all mental, that's all emotional. That has
Oh
nothing
yeah,
to do,
the
that's
whole
not
thing is
steeped in reality at all.
no,
So
no.
then, if we look to the west, if we look to the fire, what energy do you need to bring in order to, to resolve this situation? I've always seen this as defiance. I've always seen this as defensive.
Hmm.
I've always seen this as standing up. It's fighting. Standing in higher moral ground,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I think that's what's got you here in the first place.
Right.
You know?
You being you,
Yeah.
and you can't change it because of how it could be a time thing or something from the past.
But
But
you know what I see in every single Seven of Wands?
what?
They're coming at you head on. There,
Oh,
there's always, a retreat. You can always turn around and go the other
oh,
way.
yeah.
Now, in this
Yeah.
one, it kind of looks like you're on a mountaintop where you might not have the freedom to walk
Oh,
away,
that's
but
true.
I don't
That's true.
see that. I see this as, you perceive the issues, and maybe all these wands could be issues,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
excuses, let's call them excuses that you
Well,
put
yeah,
up as a
right.
barrier.
Mhm.
And you need to kind of get rid of all the excuses because,
Yep.
being alone but being alone is, way overrated. It's like
Mhm.
you want to be with somebody.
Mhm.
If you do, then you need to get rid of the excuses. So, what action do you need to take? I love this. The moon,
Yeah.
feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we go out on a moonlit night and we walk down the street, the
Mhm.
trees are giant, the bushes are giant, everything around you is bigger than life. And this card so represents that. Look at this card. Look at the cat looking in the water, at the puma.
Yeah.
You know,
Cool.
everything is larger than life. And sometimes we have to walk that path,
Mhm.
and we we're not going to know what's at the end of the path, and that needs to be okay,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What else do you see here?
No, that's. I want to see what's at the bottom of the deck. Flip it.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. 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 I am. I want to see it. You ready?
You
Oh,
need to work as a team with somebody. You need to
there.
hook up and work as a team. Or
Lynn, I
it's a
think we should incorporate the bottom of the deck with it. With these.
I've looked at the bottom of the deck, D, with every
Does it
single
work?
one of these, and
Oh, you didn't like it?
I didn't think they were, I don't know, I didn't think they were germane. So I
Okay.
didn't pull it. But
Okay.
that one I thought, yeah, I was gonna pull that one anyway. All right, there's four. You want to keep going?
Yeah, I can do one more.
Okay. Um, what will help me get through my grief, or what do I feel, or why do I feel the cold shoulder when I'm with my sisters-in-law? There's never been a problem. Or what is my biggest obstacle in getting a date?
Oh my gosh.
Those were the other ones we chose.
How about I just like what's my biggest obstacle to get me
Okay.
through the
All
the
right.
month?
What is my biggest obstacle in getting a date?
Yeah,
Or, okay, yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
because we did, what's the one big change already? Okay,
Yeah, right.
I'm ready. Here we go.
Okay.
This is a man, a Thad, asking, what is my biggest obstacle in getting a date?
Okay.
How about your stiff collar, boring attitude, for one? No.
What is that, a
Okay.
king?
Yeah, so we got the King of Swords as the center card,
Okay.
as the spiritual card. We
Mm-hmm.
have the Two of Pentacles as air.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to do like this. We have the Four of Wands as water.
Mm.
We have Judgment as earth, and we have the Three of Pentacles again our um, as our fire, or our energy. Okay.
West. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So the question: what is my biggest obstacle in getting a date? Oh, you know, everything is.
Wouldn't you say that that says it all right
Yeah, I
there?
really do. I mean, this is your problem. You're a bore ass. You're stiff. You're stiff. You're not fun.
No,
But you'll make up for it by buying me a house, right? But
exactly.
you're successful. You have a lot going for you, but you're also so confident. Maybe you're a little overconfident.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe you're a little overly confident. That could be part of it. What's on your mind? Well, you know what? You're balancing a lot of things, and you're really good at it. But I think that where I usually see this as a really good card. Hey, congratulations, you're balancing everything in life really well. I don't know how long you're going to be able to do that, being on
yeah.
a teeter
Yeah.
totter, but
Yeah.
you're doing a great job. But I think in this situation, he kind of knows it, and
Mm-hmm.
feels like that's like that is one of his attributes, one of his highlights is, hey, I can balance everything in life. I think that's a sign of overconfidence,
Mm-hmm.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, um, uh, yeah, so we have the Four of Wands for the water. What are there any emotion things that are standing in the way? I just think God, I think these cards are just showing he's really full of himself.
He is full of
He's
himself.
he's comfortable in his own house, in his own home, in his own
Yep.
group.
He makes,
To me, I see this card as being exactly where he needs to be right now.
yep,
You know,
exactly. Judgment
he's
says he likes doing what he wants to do. There's
mhm.
no room for discussion,
And he's happy with it. He's
and he's
comfortable in
very
his
happy and
world.
comfortable. Yep.
Yeah. And
Yeah, he is.
so the energy. So what is my obstacle in getting a date? Well, I think that the energy, what he needs to do is maybe he needs to reach out
Yeah.
to his tribe, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be a
Is-
group thing, and maybe he needs to be in a group setting where he can, where people can see him. I think maybe he's so busy doing things alone here, but yet here, he's got people around him.
He does. And that's probably the best thing for him is to be with like-minded people.
But there's a lot of people around him, and yet he still seems to not be able to get a date. So maybe the answer is he needs to be around the right people.
Right.
Maybe
He's
he
not.
needs. This is a social card. This
Mm-hmm.
is a work card. I think maybe he needs to put some work into the people that he spends time around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not working wise, but I mean, he needs to work at finding the right mix of people where he can, he can find somebody, or maybe he needs to find somebody at work, that shares his love of strategy, that shares his love of managing things, that shares his love of knowledge and research, and you know what I'm saying, his intellect. Someone
Yeah. Yeah.
shares his intellect.
Yeah.
And that might be somebody from a work environment. And I think that might be the answer. What is my biggest obstacle in getting a date? I think it might be just being around the right, not being around the right people.
I agree. I agree. That's
I
exactly
think
what
it's
it
that
is.
simple.
I want to see the
Um,
bottom card, Lynn.
this is judgment.
Oh, yeah.
I know. See, you're on a little phone. That's why you have trouble seeing. Because people are seeing this really big, going, God, why can't she see it? That's because she's on a
Oh,
little phone.
no, I can see it. I can see it, but it's like I'm looking at that judgment card, and to me, that just crawls right up uh that middle card,
Yep.
the King of Swords.
Well, I see the judgment card as I have
Making his
several
own
things for the
decisions.
judgment card, but in this context, you got to march to your own drummer, right? And I
Yeah.
think I think this really says you really need to find common ground. You need to hear the calling, and you need to move toward what you enjoy. You can't just you can't go sign up for a cooking class if you hate cooking just to find a
Yeah.
girl,
Mm-hmm.
because 90% of them in the class are girls, right? That go to those classes. You can't, you can't go hang out at the grocery store because somebody said the produce aisle is a great place to meet to meet women. I'm saying you can't
Mm-hmm.
do that. You have to stay in your lane. You have to march to your drummer, and just put yourself in an environment where there are people that will mesh with that, you know?
Yeah, but he has to make a decision or choice as to how much he's going to put in this, and he may have to do some changes himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe he needs to talk to somebody about that. Take it a step further,
Yep.
find out what his red flags are.
I absolutely agree. So,
So
all in all, this has been kind of an interesting spread. I'm kind of glad
yeah.
that I finally got, dug it out and decided to do something with it. I might play with it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our favorites, but you
Yes.
don't grow if you don't start looking at different spreads. So,
Well, I like it, even if because you can ask more of the positions. And I like that. What is the situation? or what is the question that does come into you, and you can ask more of it. And I do like that, and it explains a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, Happy New Year, my friend.
Yeah, same
We'll
to
come up
you.
with some, let's start looking at some more of these, you know.
You can
Oh,
do
and
that.
by the way, listen, anybody that's made it this far, please like the video, because that's how the algorithm, sends it out. That's how people find us. And if you have any idea, any suggestions for spreads that you'd like to see us, stumble over, then by all means put them down in the comments. We'd be glad. If you haven't already discovered, I have opened a shop now in McAllen, Texas, and I have a tour of my what I call my glorified walk-in closet, my micro shop, on the website. And I'm getting ready to do a series on crystal reading too. That's coming up. Well,
Ooh,
listen, you
nice.
take care. I will.
You too.
I'll see you. I'll see you later.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay. Hey, you
Thanks.
stay
Bye.
on. We'll say goodbye to everybody else. Hang
Okay.
on just a second.